Alright guys, so I'm leaving Bravo. It's actually still early. It's Wednesday, so we have church tonight. So usually on Wednesdays I leave early. And early meaning I leave at about 5:30, somewhere around there. So it's not too early. But usually I'll stay here a little bit longer. And then I'll just go to work, and I mean, I'll go home and I'll just continue to work from home. So guys, driving home, and I keep getting this question asked a lot, and I know that we've actually posted this before on YouTube, but I feel like every time I post it, I kind of leave stuff out because it doesn't really, either it's a short video or it doesn't really go into the details of how Bravo got started. And so again, a lot of people ask me, hey man, how did Bravo get started? You know, how'd you do the Bravo thing? How did you know that Bravo was something that was gonna be successful? They keep asking me all these things, and I wanna answer all of that in this video. How I started Bravo Concealment, man. So let's just get started. You know, I came from a neighborhood, I came from the barrio. We were poor, you know, we were lower middle class to upper poor class. I don't even know there's a class for that, but if there's a lower middle class, we were right below it at some times, for the most part. You know, my dad, my dad who's still with me, you know, I love my dad, and he taught me pretty much the principles of hard work. You know, going out there working every day. And one of the other things that my dad really taught me was, you know, he was a very stoic individual, meaning he hardly ever complained. My dad is somebody that almost never complains. I mean, I don't think I could count his complaints on one hand, man. My dad's 84 years old, and so he's just a hard-working, strong man that grew up in a ranch, and you know, in the middle of nowhere. And he would milk cattle in the mornings, and if he wouldn't milk them, he'd get a whipping from my grandfather. I never met my grandfather. He passed away a long time ago, before I was born. So, you know, all these things, hard work, man, pretty much. My dad and my mom, hard worker as well. You know, she was a teacher, or she was a teacher's aide, back and forth in between jobs, and just raising 4 kids. I'm the youngest, 4 boys, you know, and no girls, man. 4 boys. My mom raised 4 boys. That's crazy. Like, I think about it right now, and I have 1 son and 2 daughters, and my son is a handful. You know, kids, little boys are dirty, and you know, they're little misfits, man. You know, it is what it is, and I'm not calling my son a misfit, but you know, they know how to push buttons because I knew how to push buttons. And so let me say this, man, you know, the way you were in life, it'll come back and kind of haunt you, because my son is the way I was. Not a smart aleck, but somebody that questions everything. That's just the way I was. That's the way I was when I was a kid, and I still am to this day. You know, I question things, and sometimes I don't show it in front of other people, because you know, it's not something that other people take. It's not something that other people like. You don't want to be around somebody that's questioning everything, right? But in my mind, in my head, I'm always questioning things, and not questioning things in, is he lying, or do I believe him or not? No, but more in, why did that happen? Why did this happen? Why is this happening? What's going on here? Why did that guy do what he did? You know, why did he get into a fight with that other guy? You know, why did his girlfriend leave him? Things like that, things of that nature. Just always curious, you know, of things around me. I'm the type of guy that I'll go in a car and I'll look at the stitching. You know, I like quality stuff, man. I do. I know I drive a Hellcat, and they're not luxury cars, but you know, compared to a Cadillac or you know, a Benz or a Beamer, things of that nature, you know, I like cars like that, man. You know, I like the fine stitching and you know, the expensive leather and all that. So I've always been that type of person that always looks at the details. And so again, I digress, man. You know, I'm talking about my family, but you know, I'm talking about my children, but I talk about them because it was part of it kind of correlates to my upbringing, where I was the youngest of 4 boys, and so I got beat up by my brothers, and you know, going through all that, I think a lot of you guys understand the siblings and the fights and all that. So, you know, it is what it is. But my dad taught me, you know, hard work, man, and he taught me not to complain and to just go out there and do it. You know, the fastest way to do something is just do it. That's it. The fastest way to dig a ditch is just grab the shovel and start digging. Now, there's obviously the right way to dig a ditch and all that, but if those are the tools that you have, just do it, man. You know, it starts today. And so I learned that from my dad. So growing up, you know, I knew hard work and started working at a young age and got a job at the post office, and I was delivering mail for about almost 20 years, 19 years, almost 20 years. And delivered mail for 20 years, and always knew that wasn't for me. I always felt like I was, you know, the typical square peg in a round hole type of, you know, cliche. But you know, it's true. Cliches are cliches because they're true, you know. And so working at the post office, I was like, it wasn't me. I wasn't myself, and I did it for 20 years because for 20 years I fought that. I fought well, not 20 years, for about 18 years, 17 years, I fought that. I thought, no, this is the right thing to do. I have a good job. You know, I got married and we had children, and my mom and my wife was a stay-at-home mom, and so it was a job that provided well. Were we living paycheck to paycheck? Yes. Were we ever in need? No. And that goes into, you know, my faith as well, and my relationship with Christ. Always been tithers from day one. Always tithe, always giving offerings, even though we felt like, oh, it's pretty tight, man, I don't know if we can tithe. Always tithe, and to this day. And so God always provided, and that is a testimony, guys. I'm telling you guys right now, I know that not everybody that follows us, that watches our videos, are Christians, but if you guys are out there and you guys are struggling in tithing, guys, I'm telling you right now, I am a witness to tithing, man. And when you give, God will give in return. And you don't give expecting for God to give in return, but you just give because it's the right thing to do, because it's the right thing to do. Bottom line, you don't give because, oh, I'm gonna get something in return. No, you don't do that. God knows your heart, man. But we always gave with a giving heart, and God has always he's always provided for us. So you know, I thank God for that. And to this day, you know, people ask me, you know, how'd you take Bravo from zero to where it's at? And you know, I'll talk about entrepreneurship, and I'll talk about business, and I'll talk about you got to know your numbers and social media marketing. You got to know how to sell, and I'll talk about all that. But deep down inside me, and I'll mention it every once in a while. I don't like to throw it out there because I know a lot of people don't understand this, but I'll mention it every once in a while, and I'll mention it right now. A lot of it has to do with just our faith, you know, and it is what it is. That's what I believe, because faith, numbers are numbers, guys, and numbers don't lie. But numbers are still numbers. There's no human aspect to it, and we deal with the human aspect. We deal with nature, and again, numbers don't. There's numbers in everything. I don't care what it is. Cutting a paper, like you can apply numbers to everything in life. Everything in life. But man, when it comes to faith, when it comes to the grace that's been given to you, the blessings, there ain't no numbers there, man. And so understand that numbers are one thing, but they're just numbers, and they're great, and you need them there. And I can sit here and say it's biblical that you know your numbers, but at the same time, you also have faith. And faith is when numbers don't really add up and they don't really make sense, but it's still something that is effective, and it's something that works. And so just want to throw that in there. But getting back to the story of Bravo Concealment, and I need to hurry because I'm gonna get home soon. So working at the post office, knew I didn't belong there. I just knew it. And, you know, something was always tugging at me. And so I started Bravo Concealment back in 2009 because I was at church and we felt like we needed a security team at church. So I was called upon by my pastor and started a security team. I was there from the beginning and always needed a gun holster. I had my concealed carry license, and my pastor told me, look, I like you because you don't flaunt the fact that you have a concealed carry license. You have a concealed carry license, you keep it to yourself, you conceal carry every once in a while, nobody knows, you're not out there flaunting your gun, you're not doing it, you know, to be a show off or to be, you know, I conceal carry, man, I carry a gun. You know, I've always been the quiet type, keeping it to myself. I don't do things for other people or to please other people, or I don't tell people to please myself, like, oh, I'm a concealed carrier and I've got a gun. Do you have a gun? No? Oh, well, I'm better than you. Never thought that way, never have. I don't want to think that way. I don't want my children to think that way. So always humble. This is not me saying this, but this is from other people telling me that that's who I am, and I'll admit it. I am humble, maybe a little too humble sometimes. But getting back to that, concealed carry, needed a gun holster. Went online, started looking for gun holsters, and saw what I wanted, saw what I liked. Number one, they look cool. The Kydex thing with the eyelets, I thought they looked great, man. And I wanted a Kydex gun holster, and I couldn't get one. You know, everything was taking forever. You know, lead times were 12 weeks, and it was crazy. And there was only like 4 or 5 companies out there that were making holsters like that. And so I thought, you know what? I can probably make something like that. So went online, started ordering stuff, ordered Kydex, started messing around in the kitchen, in the oven that my wife used to use to bake cookies and all that, heating up Kydex, just crazy stuff like that. But you know, it got me going, it got me started, and ended up with a Kydex holster and showed it to my friends, and they loved it and they wanted one. And so I just started messing around, and this was a time where there was no index fastener, or maybe there was like an index fastener or a knife kits, but it was very hard to find eyelets. I remember taking my holsters to the local gun stores and people were like, where do you get the eyelets? You know, it wasn't like today where you Google eyelets or you Google rivets and they would come out. It was very tough to find this stuff, right? So the screws, you know, I remember ordering, and I didn't know about ordering back then. I was ordering like, you know, 5,000 screws, and then to get them and realize that it was the wrong screw, and then I realized that, hey man, they'll send you samples for free. You know, things of that nature that I just went through by myself because I didn't have anybody to lean on. I didn't come from an industrial background. I didn't know that they were called eyelets. I didn't know. Try Googling rivet back in 2010. You're gonna get a rivet. You're not gonna get an eyelet. Now you can probably get eyelets, right? So it was very hard for me. I didn't know the verbiage. I didn't understand all that. You know, Google 2009, 2010 isn't what it is now. YouTube isn't what it is now. So just started messing around with stuff, trial and error until I figured it out. And I would just look at pictures and try to, you know, make something that kind of looked like it. And by the time you know it, I was making gun holsters in a small little, you know, 6x8 room in the back, and just hammering them out, you know, every day because people wanted them. Started talking to people, started knocking on doors, tell your buddies about these. And it was hard for me because I was an introvert. I didn't really like talking to people. I'll talk to my friends all day long. I always have something to say. I've always had something to say, but only to the people that I feel comfortable with. So it was very hard for me to knock on doors, go to a gun shop, a local gun shop, and say, hey man, you guys want to buy some holsters? And then them just turning me down. I felt crushed. I felt like, you know what, I'm not ready for this. But for some reason I had a drive in me that allowed me to just keep going and keep going and keep going to the point where, you know, it just started being successful. So I started selling locally. I remember taking pictures with me on these little stands, picture stands, and, you know, asking them, can I just leave this here, you know, with an email and a phone number? Yeah, you can leave it here, man, because I didn't have inventory back then. I was just making them as people were asking. I remember giving them free to the guys behind the counter because I knew they would wear them. And so they would wear them, and I'd walk in there every once in a while, and there they were wearing the Bravo Concealment holsters, and people would ask them, hey man, what kind of holster is that? Because they were fairly new in the market. A lot of people didn't know about Kydex, and to this day a lot of people still don't know about Kydex and that type of holster. So, you know, just sweat equity, man. Knocking on doors, didn't know what a budget was, didn't know what a spreadsheet was, didn't have any numbers. I didn't know anything about you know, balance sheets and you know, profit and loss reports, none of that. I was just bringing in money, and the money that I was bringing in, which wasn't a lot, I was just putting it back into Bravo, never took that vacation, never went and bought a new car. We didn't take our first vacation until about 4 years into Bravo, when we took a road trip to the Grand Canyon. I mean, it was just hard work every day. And, you know, I was getting home from work. The cool thing about delivering mail is the faster you're done, the faster you go home. You get paid. Your route is evaluated at a certain evaluation. So whether you finish in 4 hours or 8 hours, you're gonna get paid the same. So I would hustle at work, get home at 3:30, 3 o'clock, and then just start working on gun holsters, and stay up till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then wake up again at 6 because I had to take the kids to school because it was on my way to work. And so it was just hustle every day, man, every day. And there's no way around that. So, but one thing I did know is that I saw an opportunity and I took it, man. It was an opportunity that I saw that there was something there that I could scale, something that I could take to the next level. Never thought that it'd go this far, by the way. And I just kept scaling it. So yesterday I sold 2 holsters. All right, next week I'm gonna try to sell 4 holsters, you know, and so on and so forth. Just scaling little by little, never being you know, greedy, or never feeling like it wasn't moving fast enough, you know. Always being patient. Patience is a virtue. Patience is key, man. And knowing that I was young in the game, and, you know, just trying to get ahead one holster at a time, and that's what it took. And so started selling them on eBay because I already had an eBay account, and then saw GoDaddy and went in there and, you know, opened up a GoDaddy account and built my own website off of GoDaddy. I didn't know anything about website. I didn't know anything about anything, guys. I went out there and I learned the stuff by myself. A lot of times staying up till 2 in the morning wasn't building holsters. It was learning how to build a website. It was learning about how to buy a domain name. It was learning about you know, how to use Photoshop. I remember trying to learn how to use Photoshop, calling a couple of buddies that knew friends that knew Photoshop, sending them over to the house. Hey man, teach me about Photoshop, buying them a burger. I mean, guys, it was crude, man, but it's what it took. It's what it took. And again, knowing that there was an opportunity there that I wasn't gonna miss. So again, I was an introvert, didn't want to sit down and talk to somebody about Photoshop, right? Especially somebody that I don't know. But I would regret more not taking that chance and regretting it, not being able to sleep. You know what would keep me up at night? It wasn't the orders, it wasn't making holsters, it was not taking a chance on opportunity. That's what would keep me up at night, and I hated staying up at night. So every opportunity I had, I would just take a chance at it. If I had to talk to somebody, I'd get on the phone and I'd talk to someone. If I had to ask them a question, I'd emails back and forth, just doing all that, guys. Then I went into Facebook. We started going into Facebook. We started going into Instagram. We met some influencers, some Facebook influencers. You know what? Let's send them some holsters. We send them holsters. If you guys remember, you know, people like Corey and Erica, FPS Russia, ran our gear for a while. You know, people of this nature. And they were running our gear, posting our stuff. They had, you know, hundreds, thousands of followers, and you know, it would expose us. And little by little, guys, we just started getting exposure, customer service from day one, man. Answering emails, again, staying up till 2 in the morning, not banging out holsters, but answering emails. You know, staying up till 2 in the morning, sending out emails. Just crazy stuff that I just loved. I loved it. It was hard work. It was, you know, it was painstaking work, but I loved it. And you know, I owe that to my dad, because again, My dad was a hard worker, man, and he taught me that, not by telling me. My dad and I had very short conversations, but it was just by him showing me. My dad didn't teach me about hard work by telling me how to use a shovel. He would just pick it up and start using it, and I would see that. I would see that in my dad, and I would think, man, you know, that's the way it's done. And so just learning by osmosis, man, basically is what it was, just, you know, with my dad. And so hard work, putting in the hard work, had a great wife, have a great wife to this day. We're still, you know, it's the same wife, you know, I've only been married once. And so she always backed me up in everything that I did. She was the second part of Bravo, and you know, she helped me stand up straight when I was standing crooked. And you know, she was just, and she still is to this day, just a wonderful help. And that's very important as well, guys. The last thing you need is somebody working and pulling you know, against you when you have all these orders to fulfill, when you have problems, when you have somebody returning the holster or getting the wrong holster, or the gun doesn't fit. You need somebody that's going to be there, that's going to back you up, that's going to say, okay, I'm here, and I'm here to help you in anything that you're trying to do. Because she understood that I had a passion for it, and I had an interest for it, and she understood that there was also a great opportunity in this. So super important in that as well, guys. And just everything just fell in place. You know, it's kind of hard to describe, but everything was just falling in place. And again, going back to the faith that I had, the faith that me and my wife had, my whole family that we have, we feel that it all fell together because of that, giving him all the glory and all the honor, you know, because there's no way that on paper it made any sense. It would have made any sense. It happened because, you know, there was that outside force, you know, that we believe in as God, that helped us kind of line everything up. And it was just beautiful, guys. And it was just rolling, and it was still hard work. None of that takes away from the hard work and the sleepless nights that we went through. But in all that craziness and in all that hectic stuff, it was just beautiful. It was just orchestrated so well, guys. It's very hard to explain, but we knew that we had something good. So we just kept pushing it and kept pushing it, guys. You know, again, just selling online. First started selling on eBay, then with the GoDaddy website, selling online. And then, you know, it got to a point where I needed a bigger room than a 6x8 because we were using the whole house by now, you know? And so, moved to a bigger home with a 2-car garage. Never had a 2-car garage growing up. Never had a garage, period, growing up. We ended up with a 2-car garage. We turned that right away into Bravo Concealment headquarters. Having, you know, U.S. Marshals coming to the house like, oh, this is Bravo? It's actually a house? Yeah, man, that's what it is. Having Border Patrol agents, people of that nature coming to the house, ordering, sitting there, telling us stories, talking till the late hours at night, talking to these people like they were our friends, but they were our guests, and they were there to pick up posters. And it was just a beautiful thing in all that. And so on and so forth for about 2 years, where we just felt like, you know, we needed to expand. And by then we had already hired our first person. So by the time we moved out of that 2-car garage, I think we already had like 3 employees. And we had our customer service office, which was upstairs, and then everything else was happening inside the garage. And down here in South Texas, you need AC, man. So I remember we set up AC in the garage, and you know, we just exploded in there. That's where Zero came in, and Zero started pushing our products, and you know, all these things started happening, started rolling. And we moved to a bigger building, obviously just a regular building. I think it was like a 3,000 square foot building, maybe even less. I don't even remember how big it was, but it was crazy, man. We moved into that, started just taking it to the next level. That's where we really started exploding, is going into that place where now we're bigger. Now we started doing more inventory. Now we started ordering way more supplies and just really stacking up. That's when we started seeing numbers, and when we started seeing that things weren't working the way we thought they were working. We were bringing in revenue, but as it was coming in, we're spending it. And so that's where we kind of got scared a little. And so we started looking into numbers and started looking into maximum output and all that. Fast forward, you know, 2 years after moving into that place, we move into our existing place where we're at right now. And about, you know, the first couple months that we were there, that's when we got a real scare. That's when we realized that maximum output was it. And making holsters by hand when you were getting close to 100 orders a day wasn't gonna work. It wasn't gonna work because our lead times were so, you know, when you're sitting there and somebody pays you for a service or for a product and you don't deliver it, it takes you 12 weeks to deliver it. Trust me, guys, you're not winning. You're actually losing, guys. I need to go into my my neighborhood here. So, well, there's someone behind me. Sorry, guys. I don't have my key, man. My apologies. I'm trying to get home here. Come on, man. There it is. Come on. Hello?
Access granted.
All right, there we go.
Please enter.
All right, guys. Thanks for your patience, man. So that's when we started realizing that we need true numbers, that we need
broke it sometime.
Sorry about that. That we need balance sheets, that we need, you know, the P&Ls and all that were super important then. And we needed to find out what our cost of goods was, like our true cost of goods. We needed to make sure that we weren't over ordering on certain things. Everything just got real in the building that we're at now. It just got super real to the point where it scared me, man. There was a point where I thought we were gonna go under. It was just crazy. We had just bought the building. You know, we thought everything was going well, and it had nothing to do with our products. It had nothing to do with our customers. The orders were still coming in. It had everything to do, again, with maximum output and what it was that we were charging for the product, and in return what we were getting back, how much we were keeping from the money that we were putting into Bravo. So all that got real very fast, guys. So accounting, super important, guys. Know the business. That's when I really started taking, you know, the business sense and the business level, or the business side of things to the next level. That's when it really got scary and crazy. And that's when I learned, man. You know, I fell flat on my face, man. And that's when I learned, you know what? There's more important things than just making a good holster. You need to know the business side of things. You need to know the business side of things. And I say that over and over because it's super important, guys. You guys out there, you know, trying to start a business because you have something that you feel that people may want, that's great, but know the business. They asked Tommy Hilfiger once, you know, if you could go back and start all over again, what would you change? Know the business. He knew how to make clothes. He knew how to make clothes, man. I mean, Tommy Hilfiger he had that down cold. What he didn't know was the business. And he says he lost a lot of money in the beginning because of that. And we lost a lot of money because of that as well. So learn that, and just kept rolling. Change is rolling with the changes, guys. Change is, a lot of people don't like change. I mentioned this yesterday because we have this innate, it's in our system, it's in our wiring, that change can lead to death. It can lead to failure. And you know, if you go back, you know, 1,000 years, you know, 2,000 years, if you go back 200 years, you know, change could lead to failure. And back then, failure could lead to death. It could lead to poverty. It could lead to very bad things. It could lead to illnesses and sicknesses. Now, you know, in business, change can lead to obviously losing money and not being as effective as some people may think. That's my wife back there. She's probably freaking out like, what's he doing? But change is super important. You got to keep up with the changes. You got to roll with the changes. We brought in CNC machines. We felt that the process that we had wasn't good enough, man. We needed to kick it up another notch, maximum output, and we were right. So we brought in CNC machines. We brought in CAD designers. Again, going out there. Nobody does anything on their own. I can't sit here and say, oh, I did it all by myself. No way, man. Number one, if you're a spiritual person, you know that's not true. And then number two, if you're not a spiritual person, you know, anybody out there that started a business, you know that you always had to lean on people, always. And so we leaned on, you know, a professor from a college that was into engineering, and we leaned on him, precision engineering, and he taught us about all these machines. And we took what he taught us and we took it to the next level. Talk about staying up all night, guys. Talk about staying up till 2, 3 in the morning. Our CAD designer, he was up sometimes he wouldn't leave till the next day, you know, at 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. He'd pull a 24-hour. And so, but that's what it would take, guys. That's what it would take to take Bravo to the next level. It takes people like that, surrounding yourself with people that are willing to do that for you. Just people that are willing to, you know, bend over backwards for you, man. And so that's what allowed us to take Bravo to where it's at now. And so this was more of a timeline thing, and I'll get into details on other stuff because I think it's really important. I wish somebody was there in the beginning to show me these things, to teach me about these things. You know, I want to really sit down and talk about, you know, how we started GoDaddy, what it took to start a website, you know, where do we get all the pictures? Where do we get all the videos? Going out there, shooting videos on a regular basis, buying a camera, spending money that you maybe didn't even have. We didn't even have, but we were just hoping and praying that it was the right thing to do. And just doing all this stuff, eating dirt in the beginning, just very interesting for me, man. Quitting my job, I didn't even go in there. One of the hardest decisions I ever had to make was saying no to the post office and saying, you know what, I'm done. By the end of the week, I'm done. And it was bringing in real good revenue, man. I mean, it wasn't, I don't want to say real good revenue, but it was a steady form of income. And people in the post office get paid fairly decent, especially down here in the valley where the cost of living is low. It's a good job, man. Again, my wife, we lived in a brick home, 1,200 square foot home, AC, central air. We didn't have a garage, but my wife didn't work, man. And it was all on mine. We had 2 vehicles. You know, how do you do that? And we're tithers, man. We go out there and we every other week we tithe, we give. And so tithe, and then on top of that, you know, giving or our offering. So how do we do that? You know, a lot of it had to do with God and just God leading the way and providing for us, but also managing your money right. You know, those things are super important. And so it's possible, it's doable, man. Don't ever sit there and think, well, you know, I get this a lot, like, well, it's easy for you, man. You guys own Bravo. Yeah, but it was never always that way. It was never always that way, man. We started from scratch. We started from zero. None of my brothers were entrepreneurs. My parents were entrepreneurs. My uncles weren't entrepreneurs. I didn't learn. I just started from zero, guys. I mean, I'm talking about if you could just see zero, it was, go back, what, 9 years, that was zero. Just nothing. A sheet of Kydex, a handgun that I had, and an oven, and a hammer, and a blow dryer. I mean, just nothing, guys. Stuff that you can find in your own house already. So, guys, I'm telling you, it can be done. It's just up to you. How far do you want to push it? And I spoke yesterday about it. I did a video where, is everybody hardwired to be an entrepreneur? No, not everybody's hardwired to be an entrepreneur. You know, is everybody hardwired to be a 1%er? If you can make $440,000 a year, you're a 1%er. Are you hardwired does everybody have that wiring, that DNA structure? No, not everybody has that structure. Will I ever get there? I don't know. I want to get there, but I don't know. But what I'm saying is that you have enough in you to take it to the next level. You do, man. You do. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm here at home, and it almost felt like I kind of whizzed by it because I didn't stop and get into depth about a lot of things. But trust me, guys, we'll still continue to make these videos, and I'll talk more in depth about certain things. But guys, I'm telling you, man, it can be done. Go out there, do it. If you find interest in something, passion is one thing, but I think interest is way more powerful than passion, because if you're interested in something, you can just focus, laser focus on that one thing, you can take it to the next level, guys. You can, trust me, man. And it's not about making money. I never started Bravo thinking, oh, I'm gonna make a lot of money. Never, guys. Once you start thinking that way, it's over. I started Bravo thinking, I can scale this, and I can sell more holsters. And maybe we can be the best Kydex holster company out there. You know, that was a far shot, and look at where we're at now. I'm not calling us the best Kydex holster company out there, but you know, we're in the conversation when you talk about Kydex holsters. And so what am I thinking now? What's the next rung on the ladder? What's the next step? I don't share those things, but they're all in here. And I have this interest in what I do on a daily. That's why I say I can wake up every morning and tap dance out of bed. I wasn't doing that working at the post office. And not to say that the post office is a bad job. It's a good job. I know a lot of friends that are still there, and that's awesome for them. Do it, man. You want to be a door greeter at Walmart? Be the best door greeter at Walmart. You want to work at Stripes? You want to work at a convenience store? Be the best convenience store worker there, man. That's fine, do it, man. But know this, if you're thinking about doing something because you feel like you're in a place that you shouldn't be, or you're ambitious, or you feel that you can do something better, you probably can for the most part. You just need to go out there and do it. And you need to deal with the headaches. And you need to deal with the worries. And dude, me and my wife were up till 7 o'clock in the morning trying to fulfill an order, a Canadian order from a special forces team in Canada. So 7 o'clock in the morning because it had to leave that day. I remember going at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, dropping it off at FedEx. Guys, but you're never going to take it to that level until you take chances like that. We were under contract, guys. I had to ship that order out. And it went out with great products. You know, we didn't sell junk, we didn't send junk, right? But that's what it takes, man. That's what it takes. So guys, again, thank you so much, man. Thanks a lot for watching this video, for going out there and following us on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you get the notifications. Every time we upload a video, you'll see that notification, that little ping. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Google us. We're all out there, guys. Go check out Bravo. Awesome deals all the time, guys. Free shipping, 30-day money-back guarantee, unlimited lifetime warranty. Go check it out, man. BravoConcealment.com. Thank you so much, man. I got to get going. We got church tonight. I will talk to you guys soon.